Want to shoot dope films but don't have a camera? Just use your phone. Filmmaking is no longer reserved for the few people who could afford a big camera. Your iPhone is capable of shooting amazing cinematic footage. You just need to know how to use it. I'm 82 and I just dropped a lesson on how to shoot cinematic films on my iPhone. I cover my whole process from the way I shoot to the way I edit my final video. I also give you tips, tricks, and hacks to help you shoot amazing films of your own. So invest in yourself and check out my lesson. Alright guys, well, this is the gimbal tips portion of the course, and we are currently in Arashiyama bamboo forest over in Kyoto. Definitely a little pocket of peace in Kyoto and probably one of my favorite places to shoot. Definitely a well-known spot. This part of the course is going to be all about my 5 tips for shooting with a gimbal. We're going to shoot ultra wide, medium shots, even close-up shots. You guys probably noticed throughout the course, I really love shooting on the gimbal. This is definitely my go-to tool. It's like my samurai sword, and I pretty much always have it on me. It breaks down and fits. I can fold it up, put it in my pocket, and you notice I don't have any backpack, no bag, just my phone, the gimbal, and I'm gonna show you guys pretty much what I put together. We're gonna do 5 different shot variations. It's gonna be super simple. You guys could do this at home. You guys could do this when you're on the road. All you need is a gimbal. It's like 130 bucks, even cheaper in some other places. And I hope by the end of this, you would have learned a little bit of my gimbal mastery. So the first tip is probably the most obvious one, is to walk straight with your gimbal. And what we're really focusing on is actually breathing and the heel to toe method. And this is super simple to do. You literally just want to walk heel to toe. This keeps your gimbal stable and you'll get a smooth walking motion just going straight on. And you can literally do this anywhere. So I'm focusing on my breathing. In your nose, out your mouth, and then heel to toe. Shot number 2, also one of my favorites. Actually, I'll probably say this for all of them. But all you need to do is flip your gimbal upside down in this motion. Then you could get a low shot. So we're starting off with the medium shot. Now we're going with the low shot. This allows you to get really low to the ground. And I usually like to do this when I'm following a person or if I just want to capture the ground. Or you could do this on water too. And it's pretty much the same combination, heel to toe, and just trying to stay as stable as possible. For this shot, I'm gonna use Andrew as my subject. He's kind of cute. Yeah, he's got a nice little heel toe.
I'm cutting.
So I'm gonna use Andrew as my subject, and he's just going to do a quick little stroll through our bamboo forest. And let's go. All right. And bringing your gimbal back up. Shot number 2. By the way, you don't have to be in a crazy location. You could do this literally at home. You could do this right outside your house. You could do this when you're shooting a car or shooting a person or pretty much anything. Gimbal is a universal tool. Tip number 3, I'm using Andrew as a subject again, and all I'm going to do is a wraparound. So you could do this either clockwise, counterclockwise. My personal tip is that I like to keep the subject in the middle as I'm wrapping around, but you could also combine it in multiple different ways. But for this example, we're just gonna have Andrew's face or his head just as center focus.
How do I look?
You look great. Again, I'm focusing on my breathing, doing the heel toe action, and I'm wrapping around. And then if you want to get a little crazy with it, have your subject walk and try to follow him. All right, ready? Getting too wild. All right. And this is a good reveal shot. This is good for isolating your subject and also giving your subject some character, showing them walking or running. And if you want to do a little extra, you make your subject run. This is like tip 3.5 because this goes along the same lines as shooting your subject with a gimbal. But first, I'm gonna focus on whatever is above me. It could be the sky. In this particular case, it's the bamboo forest. And then I'm gonna lock onto Andrew, who's going to be running forward. And then I'm gonna keep him center focused. And like I mentioned before, this is giving your subject a little more character. You could be walking, running, or doing any type of action. So let's do it. Do it. All right, so I'm gonna start from behind.
Really fast.
Okay. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock focus first. And action. Fourth tip, using your gimbal also as a tripod. In this case, I would hope that, you know, in the setting that you're shooting at, something that's time-lapseable, such as like cars, clouds, people, any type of movement. And all I'm gonna do is add this attachment piece. It could be any type of tripod, 1/4 inch that attaches to the bottom. And I'm just gonna lash this on. And the cool thing about the gimbal is that because it stays stable the whole time, it'll also serve as a tripod. One of my favorite parts of using a gimbal is multi-purpose. Right, so I'm just gonna go into time-lapse mode. Set up my frame. So also with gimbals, you get to reframe. Set this out. Get my frame in. And let my time lapse rip. Time lapses go anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes or 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how long, depending on how much time you have. Usually for me, I try to stick around the 3 to 5 minute range, just because I don't want to spend too much time in one location. I kind of just want to get my shot and then keep things moving. And it's just for the sake of your group. You know, if you're in a group of 4 traveling, or you're in a group of 2, or even if you're just by yourself, like just time is of the essence. And you don't need super long time-lapse clips unless you're trying to sell like stock footage. So if you're just doing it for a quick B-roll, 3 to 5 minutes gets you about like 3 to 5 seconds of footage. Some gimbals can handle weight. In this particular case, I'm throwing a Moment 58 on here, and if we cut back to the monkey footage, having a gimbal stabilize telephoto footage is probably a game changer. Handheld on the 58 is decent, but when you throw it on the gimbal, you almost get that telephoto. You get a telephoto stabilizer. I can't even explain it because this is so out of pocket. Like I can't believe like that this is handling this weight right now, and it just gives you a telephoto gimbal shot. So in like big movies, big sets, they throw on, you know, 85, 100 millimeters, 135 millimeters just to get that depth. And the simple fact that you could do this on your phone on a gimbal, it makes no sense to me. So looking at some of this monkey footage, it's some of the most incredible shots I've actually done with this combo. Tip number 5 is using the gimbal to follow walls. So it's like almost like riding walls, and you want to make sure that your camera is aligned with the edge of the wall so that you have more depth going down. It looks cool when you have it on the other side. So just say if we were on the right side and I was going down, but it looks even cooler when you're on the left side and you line it with your camera. So what I'm gonna do is this, and so we're gonna go there. Just using your gimbal, tilting your camera up, and it's just as stable as walking straight. So you could do a nice look-up shot, whether it be buildings, in this case it's the bamboo forest. It just gives you that smooth movement and just another piece to add to your B-roll collection, or just your gimbal collection of moves to do when you're out shooting. And I know these tips may seem kind of tedious, but I promise you, once you put the gimbal in your hands, you kind of get an idea of what to do with it. My tips are just some things that I've learned over the years, and the coolest thing about this is that these gimbal tips that I'm giving you guys is not just applying to the phone. You can apply this to shooting with a mirrorless camera, or like a big DSLR, shooting on like the DJI Ronin S, or anything along the gimbal, world. But the easiest, most compact, and most convenient way to use a gimbal is on mobile, because this is literally how I'm gonna end this section.